Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Main, here again with Pastor Victor Brote. If you want to reach out to me, you can get me at stevemain.com. We love to hear your comments, so put them in the comment section, any input that you may have, or if you want to tell us we totally missed it, we welcome that too. So welcome, Victor.
Thank you. Great to be here all the time.
Okay, so we talk about giving a lot, and in Luke 10, we're around verse 27, we're talking about a commandment: love the Lord your God and love your neighbor. And then it gives an example, which we all know is, the Good Samaritan. The story is called the story of the Good Samaritan. Follows this. And so let's talk about this passage and love. And in this case, love is requiring, or giving is required in this to help someone in need. So take us through the passage, Victor, and what's your take on this?
Well, along comes this expert, and he's asked by Jesus what is the pinnacle or the key thing about the law. And he talks about loving the Lord your God with all your heart and loving your neighbor. And he gives the right answer. So it's an external sort of answer, but it isn't all the way home yet. It's just on the outside. And the guy is trying to justify himself. Who do I have to love? And I'm going to stop and kind of go off to the side. It seems like the whole world thinks that they love their neighbor, but in reality hates love the whole world, but they hate every single neighbor around them. And it's something that's a challenge for us, that we got to practice this in the way that Jesus lays out. And it has to do with how we actually step out and spend a little money, spend a little time, and a little bit dangerous, and actually work at loving people.
As you're going through this, I'm thinking, and you have the background on this, the theological background on this, but the Samaritan, there was actually a racial divide there, correct?
Yeah. There was a racial divide, and there was a theological divide. They were sort of heretics and strangers. They were just as unpopular as two people get, the Samaritans and the Jewish nation.
Would it be fair to say that the Hebrews or the Jewish people in here in this example were even kind of racist towards the Samaritans? And this
definitely, and more than we see in our society today. Okay. I mean, it was just outrageous. It was hatred.
Right. And this is the whole point. So we need to kind of paint that picture and give that background as you talk about what the Samaritan did. He did this for someone who hated him. And I think a lot of times that's glassed over. And Jesus is saying, well, this is how you love your neighbor.
That's real love. When you pull out all the stops and make it kind of real rubber meets the road type of thing. And it's so important to understand this is what Jesus is saying. The last people in the world that they would expect any kindness from, the Jews would expect any kindness from, would be the Samaritans. You can read just around this chapter where Jesus was headed toward Judea, and there was a whole town that said, nope, you're going toward Judea. Don't come in here. Don't be around us. We won't accept that. Because you're going in the wrong direction. So they're telling Jesus what to do, and they're hating each other. They're busy hating each other. So the last person to show kindness that would be expected is a Samaritan. So
right, and then a couple guys walked past him and just pretended like they didn't see him. And it reminds me that Jesus says, when you do to the least of these, you do to me. And so what is
He
our
takes it
behavior?
personally.
Yeah. When you do to the
Yeah.
least of these, you do it to me. And that's just really, that passage has always got my attention when we're feeding people. And a lot of these people don't have much, but it's important. And there are people, so many people that we look down our noses at, and we just it's human nature, I guess, because they're not important in man's eyes, but they are in God's eyes. And I just think that those are the people, especially when everybody, but those people that appear to be the least in man's eyes, when we help them, that's making God smile.
Yeah, right around here, you talk about value of everything, value of men and your life and personally, and right even down to the sparrow. You can't keep track of all these creatures, but God does, and even your hairs, God does, and it's just the value that it is so great. And this legal expert wants to say, well, who is my neighbor? Who can I reject? Who can I push off to the side? Who can I devalue? And Jesus says, hold on a minute. We got a whole different paradigm than what you're talking about. So this kind of reached out and smacked the guy right in the face, because it was upside down and backwards according to what society or the culture thought in that time.
Because it's two groups of people that hate each other basically because of their race.
Yeah.
Right.
And religion. Yeah.
No getting around it. That's why they hated each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it kind of went both ways too, right? But
oh yes, definitely. Definitely. These guys, there was, in their eyes, there was nobody else on that side that was kind or good or worthy in any way. And but the Samaritan comes along, and he finds this person stranded on the road, beaten up, clothes are taken, everything's taken from him, and he stops. The religious people, the experts, the law, the legal experts, the religious experts, they just kind of walk around. They ignore it. They pretend the guy, and it could have been that if they stopped, they could have gotten jumped, because it might have been a setup. You don't know what's going on in this kind of situation. So it was kind of dangerous. But the Samaritan stopped in the middle of that danger, picked up the guy, rinsed him off, put anointing oil on him, brought him to a hotel, and being general in the idea, but brought him to the hotel. And there, right there, he pulled out in his back pocket a wad of money. 2 denarii, which is basically a denarius is a day's wages. So 2 days' wages. That wasn't cheap. A hotel today was what, $100, $200, something like that on the low end. And he paid for it. Stranger. And he paid for it. Jesus says, that is the example of love, Mr. Legal Expert. That is what God calls you to. Wow. It's like mind-breaking. It's so radical that Jesus gives this guideline for us. And I think that a lot of our personal experience, our day-to-day, we don't want to go into the radical. We just kind of hold back. Well, I know that guy has an angle, therefore I'm going to resist him. He's out there begging, therefore I just write him off as of no value. But again, God has it upside down and backwards according to our culture. And that's what the challenge is here, to really kind of not talk about it, but to put feet onto our love. And it cost us money, among many things. So there you have it.
Well, appreciate it. Great input as always. We're going to keep doing more of these. Like I said, you guys think of anything, put it in the comment section. And thanks for listening. If you like this stuff, please like and subscribe. Victor, thanks for doing this. Thanks for being with us.
A pleasure. Thanks.